As a 5-year-old, most girls are doing ballet or gymnastics. I was trying to raise my knees higher and keep my fingers in a perfectly pointed position while hopping around swords, in hopes for the red vine candy reward from my Highland dancing instructor. This was all in preparation for my performance at the Scottish Highland Gathering and Games in Petaluma, California. Even if you're not Scottish, there's plenty of fun to be had at the Scottish Festival. I actively try to attend as many cultural gatherings as I can because it's an immersive traveling experience without nearly as much of the expense. We can all benefit from learning about different ethnic cultures by building tolerance and curiosity. The Highland Gathering and Games usually goes on under hailing rain or 106-degree sweltering weather, but last year, for the first time, the games were canceled due to COVID. Today, I'm going to tell you about why you should attend the 156th Scottish Highland Gathering and Games this year. The food is phenomenal. You can participate in and watch heavy athletics games, as well as experience new music and dancing. From the fried food, shortbread bakery, and the classic staples from the UK, you might have a hard time deciding where to fill your stomach. The corn dogs, turkey legs, and the fish and chips are all bigger than the size of your head. It is no secret that fair food is atrociously good for the soul, but bad for the waistline. Well, I have some good news for people like me, whose favorite part of the fair is the food. According to a study done by a weekly peer-reviewed medical journal, the BMJ, in a Mediterranean population, they found no association between fried food consumption and coronary heart disease. Little is known about the relation between fried food consumption and mortality. The smell of freshly baked shortbread fills the indoor shopping halls. We have a family recipe for it, but there's no secret. Go heavy on the butter and you did it right. The line for the haggis, the elephant ears, and the shepherd's pie are always very long because the recipes are traditional. Trust me, it's worth the wait. The food at the Scottish Festival is certainly an unforgettable experience. After grabbing yourself some grub, make your way over to the grandstand's live heavy athletics competition. You will get to watch some of the top professional and amateur women and men athletes compete for honors in Scottish hammer throwing, putting of the stone, weight for height and distance, and sheaf and caber tossing events. The games also feature the annual US Invitational Scottish Heavy Athletics Championship. I always find that after watching these strong men and women give it a go, I must do it for myself. Maybe it's in my genes. Luckily for me, that opportunity presents itself at the festival. Over by the clan booths is an arena for you to try it for yourself. You can throw a hammer, putt the stone, or flip the caber. Flipping the caber is my personal favorite. I tend to pass up the Scotsmen in kilts who are eager to teach me the basics of grapple wrestling, though. Whatever you do, don't let the games wear you out too much, because there's plenty of dancing to be done. There are two forms of Highland dancing, to ancient instruments. There's formal and country. If you make your way to the Highland Dancing Stadium, you'll get to witness people who devoted their entire lives to competing through traditional formal dance to bagpipes. If you've never heard bagpipes in person, the reverberance is much more profound than a typical marching band. In addition to this, according to Josh Anderson, the bagpipe master, when considering the origins of the bagpipe, most people think of Scotland or Ireland. However, most historians believe that the bagpipe began at the dawn of civilization. In the ancient Middle East, archaeologists have found carvings of bagpipes as early as 1300 BC. If you're in the mood for something a little more casual, after all of that often free Scottish whiskey, then make your way down to the country Scottish dancing floor. Get spun around by Scots to other ancient instruments that you may have never heard before, such as the didgeridoo. In the book, Voices of the First Day, the author Lawler informs us that the didgeridoo is a long wooden flute, and it's played similarly to a trumpet by vibrating your lips. It's perhaps the oldest musical instrument on Earth. The exposure to a variety of ancient instruments, captivating dance competition, and friends that are made on the dance floor are sure to make you return year after year. I do. In conclusion, I have shown to you that the study done by the Scandinavian Journal of Hospitality and Tourism is right. The main benefit factors of attending a fair is the food and the atmosphere. From the traditional food, heavy athletics games, ancient instruments, and dancing, it's clear to us all now that there's something for everybody at the Scottish Festival. Even more activities are available to explore if the time allows. These include Children's Glen, Birds of Prey, the Petting Zoo, the Sword Shop, the Border Collie herding events, and the historical clan booths. The annual Highland Games and Scottish Festival in Pleasanton, California is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. As my mother would say, be a brave Scot and make the trip. I'd like to honor the Scots now by saying thank you and goodbye for now in Scottish Gaelic. Toff believe, moss on leave, ondrasta. Thank you. And do you guys have any questions?
So is the didgeridoo like, is that originally a Scottish instrument? I always thought it was like Australian.
So it's actually Aborigines. I just learned that. So they have a lot of weird instruments at the Scottish Festival, like they have the harp and all different kinds of instruments like that. It's funny, like the only instrument that people seem to think is Highland is the bagpipe, but they play a lot of ancient instruments there. But it is Aborigines and from Australia. You're correct. No. But because it's the oldest instrument, I think it's actually from the Middle East, just like the bagpipe. And yeah, so I actually have a 1-minute video to show you all briefly, unless there's any other questions. Okay, so this is cool. So I am gonna try to share my screen and hopefully I remember to do the sound. Okay, she disabled sharing, but it's okay. I was just gonna show you guys the games because they're really cool, but you guys can just look it up. If you look it up, you'll be able to see it. And that's all. So thanks for listening.